Hello fellow engineers, this is a short video showing how to install and apply a ClimaCheck portable analyzer onto a chiller. The first time you do so could take you a couple of hours. After practice though, it takes a maximum of 45 minutes. This is the ClimaCheck portable analyzer. The system is complete with software to match the refrigeration circuit being analysed. It is also complete with the 12 required temperature and pressure sensors, along with means to simultaneously record voltage and current. On the portable, there are labelled jack points where sensors are plugged in and applied. They are positioned alongside a refrigeration diagram, making it easy to identify what goes where. This diagram shows where all the sensors are going to be located on the circuit. On the right side we have the compressor. The black lines on the right of it are showing the three-phase electrical input, where we measure both voltage per phase and amps per phase. Going out of the compressor, on the discharge line we have a temperature and a pressure sensor. To the condenser at the top of the page, where we have in and out temperature sensors for the cooling medium, whether it's air or water. Coming out from the condenser we have the liquid line, where we have one sensor, temperature sensor prior to the expansion valve. And then into the evaporator itself we have the secondary side chilled water in and out sensor. The suction line coming out back to the compressor, we have one temperature and one pressure sensor. Here we're looking at two diagrams. On the left side, we start with the compressor on the centre right, showing electrical input via the black arrows. Temperature and pressure up to the condenser, showing heat being rejected to the atmosphere, and in it the refrigerant changes state from a vapour to a liquid. It's then fed to the expansion valve. Then through the expansion valve it vaporizes into the evaporator, where you can see by the blue arrows heat being absorbed from the conditioned space or cooling process before the vapor refrigerant goes back to the compressor to start the cycle again. On the right side we're seeing the same process but in the form of a pressure entropy chart, starting with the sloping curve on the right hand side, sloping up and to the right. That's a compression period where both pressure and heat is added to the vapor refrigerant till it reaches the top line. Then moving from right to left on that black line, the condensation takes place where air or water cools the vapor refrigerant and condenses it to a liquid. We then have the vertical line coming downwards, which is the expansion line, where we're reducing the pressure of the refrigerant so that it's still a liquid but it's now keen to boil off at a very low temperature. And then the bottom line, left to right, the vaporization, is where heat is absorbed from the cooling process, and that heat is used to vaporize the liquid refrigerant before it enters the compressor and starts the cycle over again. Here we're looking at the dashboard, the heart of the ClimaCheck system, which you can look online remotely at any time or on your laptop on site. It includes the innovative system efficiency index, which is a thing that only ClimaCheck provide. The dial on the left is the actual SE cooling index, which is a very clever thing. Most times we visit a site, a chiller won't be working in the perfect conditions. Ambient temperature might be well out of range. The chill water temperature also. The amount of load that we've got on the chiller is maybe not very high, but we're still expected to do a service on the thing. Well, this system, it compares what's actually being carried out or delivered by the chiller at any moment in time, and it's compared to the perfect Carnot cycle. And so with that we can just see how efficient the chiller is working, even in light load or low ambient conditions, etc. The other four dials shown there, one is showing the performance of the actual refrigeration cycle, the other one is the actual compressor, the efficiency it is working at, the condenser, and then at the right side it's the evaporator. each vital part of the system is analysed and its actual performance is being shown. This demonstration showing sensors being installed is on one of our chillers at King's Cross. This is a Carrier centrifugal machine, water cooled. This screen is showing the portable ClimaCheck in its transit boxes. It's easy to manoeuvre, fits into the back of an estate car, is either transported on the train or indeed by aircraft if necessary. Here the engineer is preparing the sensor wires. Showing pressure transducers 35 and 10 bar. At the pressure access point we are fitting the high pressure transducer and sensor wire. Here the neoprene sealing ring is being pointed out. Next, preparing a temperature sensor and cable, demonstrating the heat transfer paste, applying paste to a sensor, then fixing it to the refrigeration discharge pipeline with adhesive tape and thermal insulation. Plugging in the discharge pressure sensor wire, then plugging in the discharge temperature sensor wire. Showing next two sensor wires are the temperature in and out of condenser water. Here we are fixing condenser in and out sensors to the condenser in and out pipe surfaces. The engineer is passing the sensor cables to the other side of the chiller, then plugging them in to the in and out sockets of the condenser water communication system. Here we are fitting a surface temperature sensor to the liquid line and plugging it in to the appropriate socket. Next we are pointing out the next one to be dealt with, the chilled water leaving temperature socket. Installing the probe in the available temperature well. Doing the same with the chilled water inlet temperature, installing the probe. Next we are plugging into the TT4 socket, which is the chilled water inlet temperature. Now showing the low pressure transducer 10 bar version, then fitting it to the low pressure access point. Adding the transducer and then adding to that the actual sensor cable. Then connect this into the TT2 on the portable. Next, installing a surface temperature sensor to the refrigeration suction line, then connecting it into the socket TT2 on the portable. With the next few slides we'll see the engineer connecting into the electrical side of the chiller, first isolating up with the panel. Now he's fitting the magnetic voltage sensors. Next he's got the power clamp that will measure the amperage of each phase off the bus bars. Now we're fitting extension cables and transfer cables which will allow the sensors to be plugged into the jack points of the Power Scout. And there's the Power Scout with the amperage and the voltage connections being made. And now we're putting on a connection data cable which will transfer all that data directly into the relevant part of the portable ClimaCheck. pointing out here the two places where we can connect to either a laptop or the internet directly. The laptop on site will enable on-site analysis while we're there, and of course the internet means we can check it 24/7 remotely. We hope that this has given you enough information to be able to visit a site and install a ClimaCheck portable unit to a chiller. Thank you for watching and good luck.